Hello everyone, hope you are all having a wonderful day. I certainly am, as I have had the joy of experiencing an early look at Anno 117 PAX Romana, which I get to talk about and share with you all today. Firstly, thank you Ubisoft for sponsoring this video and allowing me the chance to get my hands on the game early. And if you want to get the game yourself, you can buy now using my link in the video description. It is available for play on PC via Ubisoft Connect, Steam, and the Epic Games Store, as well as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. I was super excited to dive in, as I do have previous experience with the Anno game series, having played some on stream over the past few years, and the immediate remembrance of what makes these games so great is right there from the very start. The prospect of having a blank canvas with an almost scary amount of progression ahead of you, which is at first introduced in achievable chunks, is so satisfying. I decided to dive into the campaign mode with the tutorial enabled, as I always find it good to have a reminder of what I'm doing, and I did not regret this choice at all. The tutorial is not intrusive and it flows naturally with learning the game. Similarly, the campaign has a fun story while also giving you a good reason to utilize and learn many of the game mechanics. Though if you are already confident in your management abilities, you can dive right into an open world and get to building with no restrictions either. As you can see, I took a moment to appreciate the beauty of the world that I just arrived in and become governor of. And before getting started, it is worth just having a look around. This game is beautiful from the very beginning. I also just want to emphasize how good the quality of life is in this game from the first few moments. Placing my first buildings, the build grid just felt amazing, and as you get into bigger cities, it's so satisfying having everything lined up. Moving stuff around feels super simple as well. Laying out roads, the road automatically completes, saves a lot of frustration that I remember having in previous editions. This list really does simply just grow as you continue to play the game and experience more of the features. As I got some houses down, I unlocked the ability to begin fishing sardines and making porridge for the first tier of my population. This is a great example of getting introduced to more parts of the game in manageable chunks. While there's always the behind-the-scenes sense that you could get overwhelmed, it really is made sure that you are comfortable step by step, and before I knew it, I was getting my oat fields established too. If you are familiar with my channel, you know I obviously have a love for RTS games, and some of the most fun parts of those carry over into Anno 117 immediately, as I'm now already considering how to balance the expansion of new homes alongside their needs for food and potential future investments into technology, while also maintaining the peace and the other problems I know are coming. There really is something so great about having a never-ending list of questions that I need to provide answers to. I was also quickly presented with something else that PAX Romana asks of you, to make more broad decisions that could have anything from a one-time payoff through to buffs for your population or income. In this case, a simple civilian asking if I would buy his good nets me some good faith and some items. These kind of decisions continue to crop up in the campaign as well as in the day-to-day life of your city, and I feel like it's a really nice touch as just a different layer of decision making that you're kind of having to go through, other than just the typical city building and resource management. Moving on, it was time to keep introducing complexity to the game. My people were fed, but they also needed to be clothed and kept happy. Some buildings take up members of your workforce in order to be run, another resource to be kept track of, but it's also necessary in order to increase income, as a happy population is a population that provides. So for me, it was time to make sure the Liberty were content, and so we added on a tavern, we added on a marketplace for their enjoyments and needs, and after that it was time to make sure that their tunic production was in place as well. With these needs met, I would be able to continue teching up essentially in this game and get into the next tier of the population. So basically I had to get the people happy, so that's what I set out to do, and after a little bit more satisfactory city building and farm planning, trying to get all my farms together for however long that idea would last, the main goal here really was just get everyone happy and to, stop watching my resources deplete over time.
Most of old Ambrose. Well, I have nothing against liberty. The plebeian classes may now be ready for a life in Juliana.
Did you hear that? My advisor thinks we're ready to tech up. Once the needs of the Liberty are met, I can upgrade their housing into the plebeian tier, which gives me a secondary type of workforce, and you know that I love that. More different resources to manage. These workers are needed to maintain my future technologies, allowing me to continue my advancement through the different tiers that the game provides. And off I went, upgrading a bunch of initial houses and getting that sweet dopamine hit of having new options of what to build, including a whole new tier of building structure in the form of tiles instead of lowly wood and timber. This also meant I advanced to the next chapter of the story of the campaign that I was working through as well. Well, if you can build with tiles, you are going to need tiles. This encouraged me to move away from what had been my hotspot thus far towards my trading post and at the bottom side of my map, and I had to go north because I needed a river building area in order to place down a clay pit. Naturally, it then made sense to get the buildings that produce things with clay nearby, so I had a new little hub on my island to work on. Remember when I said that the game is amazing at making progress manageable? This is exactly what I mean. Suddenly I'm working in different places on the map and connecting roads in order to grow and advance, and I'm not worried necessarily about everything else because it's just come along naturally. This isn't something I felt I had to do straight away, but now it makes sense to do it. It's the next step for me in this game, and again, I just absolutely love that progress. It is so welcoming, it feels so good. It is just such a feels good to see this growing. Already in the first few minutes, look how far we've been able to come with our city. And in the exact same vein, just moments later, look at me here, I have to build a grain mill. And so we're out over to the right-hand side a little bit, and again, just making use of all of the land that is available. And again, overall, it's just so satisfying to see this all grow. I'm definitely in the mood right now. My plan is to obviously, you know, we're at tier 2, but I already want to satisfy the tier 2 population. And so we want to make the tier 2 happy and get to tier 3. At least that's my plan. The campaign had other ideas, which you'll find out a bit later. But the general idea right now is let's make this tier 2 population happy, let's keep things connected, and let's see where we get to. The game is also super well integrated. Right here, I realized I don't have a warehouse nearby, not because the game necessarily just pings me, but because one of the characters says, there's no warehouse, what are we meant to do? And the integration on this game is so great. Being able to just watch everybody move around, transporting goods, the realism. It's so immersive, being able to feel like you're truly there, you're watching everyone walk past each other. We'll see a bit more of that later on as well. Just thought this was a great example as well, where you just see, hey, I need a warehouse, because the people don't understand how they're meant to work without it. So naturally, we kept on building, we kept on growing, and then I found one of my most favorite things, this beautiful stat sheet. And if this is the kind of game you play because you love numbers and kind of spreadsheeting and kind of figuring it all out and managing on kind of that intricate level, you are going to love this. When I opened it up, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. It tells you all the things that I'm supplying. It's so satisfying because all of a sudden, now I can see, oh, I need a bit more of that, or I need to do some of this. And this is really useful because it makes so much sense now, because I was like, oh, why aren't my people happy? Why aren't I progressing through this tier? Well, now I look at the stat sheet and I'm like, okay, well, I'm using a bit too much wood right now. Let's make sure I have enough sawmills going on. Or I need more fish. There's more demand for fish than I have supply. And this is really just surface level right here. Like I'm really just taking a first little look through it, but my goodness, as you get into it, it's just so fun to kind of look at the, just depending on how much you want to get into, I think, which is what's really great, right? Where you are able to say, hey, like, I want to deep dive on the stats. I want to deep dive on the numbers. This lets you do that. If you want to play a bit more casually, you don't necessarily need to look at this sheet. But the fact it's there is so satisfying, so fun. Yeah, I love finding this. Also love just, again, how easy it is to kind of do things. Upon realizing here that I wanted to try and put something in the middle of all my houses so it buffs the entire area, bam, look at this. Mass select the houses, move them along, build grid super useful, and I can just pop down my sanctuary where it's able to affect as many people as possible. So just like that, it's so easy to pick up and relocate as required, and just to replan your city out as needed. From here on, I'm going to be talking a lot more about some of the promise of things in the future, and one of the first cool things I came across was being asked to pick a god. And I had to pick a god for this city, this civilization to kind of live by, and they both have different, or all three of them have different buffs and different benefits, and then there's ones you can unlock as you research later. So right now, again, bite-sized chunks. You have 3 to pick from right now, pick whichever one sounds good. Later on, we get more research and more options. And this is, again, a great thing the game does, where it's that promise of, hey, right now you just have one location. But as you make people believe here, you can actually expand this belief elsewhere, and you can have different locations with different beliefs, and each place can be good for different things. And you just start going down this rabbit hole of like, oh my goodness, how much is this game going to give me to play with? As you'll hear in some of the upcoming things I'm going to talk about as well, like this is a constant in this game where it's just like, oh, here's another thing that I'm super excited to do in the future, because they're talking about the possibility of having boats and sailing around, or I'm going to have to find a new place to set up, a new city to, expand to, or new ground that is fertile for different crops. these promises of the future is what keep you in this game, because you're like, oh my god, this is already fun, and it's only going to get better as there's even more to figure out. In the end, I decided to go with Mars, by the way. It just seemed like he kind of met what I needed right now, which is some charcoal production. I was pretty confident producing food already, so I went with Mars, but there really isn't a wrong choice. It really is just how you want to play the game, and that I think is so fun as well, that you can kind of craft this into something that is just suitable to you. Yeah, and when I mentioned scale, the research tree is exactly that. Look at this. This was my first time opening, and I was just like, where do you even begin? Well, I guess on the ones that are lit up, again, manageable. It feels accessible, but look at the possibility. Look at all the things you can upgrade. I love the research system as well. I found out a bit later on you can actually queue things here, so research takes quite a significant amount of time, 20-30 minutes, depending on what you're researching, depending on the knowledge that you have available to you as well. But by queuing them up, you're never in that process of like, oh no, I forgot to go back here, I missed 5 minutes of research time. You can queue up a bunch, go back after a while, reorder your queue. Again, a great quality of life, another system that fits brilliantly into the game, and another thing I'm just super excited to continue exploring, because how are you ever going to get through this whole research tree? I don't know, but I'm heckin' excited to try. So the one thing that was really holding me back was I couldn't grow certain things I needed to tech up to the next tier, because I didn't have the fertility to grow certain things on my island. And again, another concept of like, hey, you're going to have to expand to different places and have different civilizations and trade between them. Again, the concept of scale in this game is amazing, and the promise of what is to come. The islands I found initially didn't actually have what I needed, but it turns out that I was actually getting ahead of myself anyway, because the campaign had some other ideas before I was able to get to the next tier anyway. But again, I just wanted to mention this idea of like looking at what was available on different islands. And again, if you were playing just a free open game, the concept of like, when do you decide to move over there? I actually love how quickly you're kind of invested into actually maybe expanding out from your initial settlement, because you need these other things to tech up to even just tier 3, which I got to within a couple of hours. So I was ready to go. I was ready to tech. And hence I went on exploring. But like I say, the campaign had some other ideas, but just loving how quickly this game gets you involved in so many different aspects of it. So much faster than some of the previous Anno games that I've played myself. And again, just great ways of learning everything here. I was finding out how to transport things with my ship because I had to for a quest. So again, part of the campaign just telling me, hey, this is how you transport things. That's going to become very useful later on when I need to then actually have different islands for different goods and maybe transport them back and forth to keep everyone happy and keep everything available. So again, just another example. I have so many good examples of what to show in this game. It's maybe too many. I'm loving sharing these because I had such a good time discovering them myself and just how natural the whole process of learning felt. Anyway, after dealing with some fires and other things, I thought this was a great little clip to just show just how big things had become. I actually realized I kind of needed to move my housing elsewhere. So I used the grab tool and just moved everything over here, and then I realized I had a couple of harbor buildings, so I had to go back and reselect a little bit more carefully. But the fact that you can just grab, drag, and reposition everything, it takes your roads, it takes your pathways, it's great. Just like that, I was able to, implement so much of my city from one location to another. Again, I thought this was an amazing QOL, and just was so easy to figure out. Like, it took me a couple of attempts. The only thing really slowed me down here was like, which way around was it? Which way do I want to rotate things? But yeah, once I figured it out, just bam, it moved. I spent like 5 minutes reorganizing my city, which is particularly funny because the next thing I knew, I was being exiled. The campaign had other ideas. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about the story, but the TLDR, I had to come and basically start again somewhere new, and that's when I realized even more incredibly what was going to happen in this game. Because here I was starting new, and it's like, well, I'm going to have to do things again. But I had a different type of first tier of population who had different food options. It was different types of land that I can't build houses on, but I could build certain food structures on later. That was marshland, I learned. And suddenly I was, homing raiders instead of Liberty as my tier 1. And yeah, this is why I'm going to wrap the video up here, because I think it's just another great example of just what this game does so well, which is it just has so much potential. I have no idea how many hours I'm going to end up playing this. It feels like a heck of a lot, because right now it just feels like there is so much I want to do. I've barely gotten started, and it just keeps getting more excited. I cannot wait to check it out even further and just keep on getting more involved. Because, yeah, I was going to keep on making this video, and then it was like, oh, here's a new island. I was like, okay, fine, you know what? That's a great point for me to stop at, because I was not going to stop. So I'll make the video, and then I'll get back to playing. So that's what I'm going to be doing in just a few moments. Because, honestly, Anno 117 PAX Romana has been an absolute blast to sink my teeth into. Thanks once again to Ubisoft for sponsoring this video. Again, if this sounded fun, if you enjoyed hearing me really gush about this game, and truly it's just because I enjoyed it so much, I really am looking forward to playing it more. If you enjoyed it, you can purchase it through the link in the description. It helps me out if you do so. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed playing it to be able to share it all with you. There's horse racing too, just in case you needed another reason in this beautiful, immersive world of Anno 117 PAX Romana. If you get it, I hope you love it, because I certainly did.